Hey, my lovely goal-getters. Welcome to the Moms Making Money Show. I'm your host, Amie Pederson, business mentor and confidence coach for the emerging boss mom. It's my mission to help amazing women just like you up-level yourself and your business because you are meant for more than wiping boogers and folding laundry. I'm also a wife, mother, urban farmer, influencer, green juice enthusiast, and an unapologetic lover of cowboy boots. I can't wait to help you grow your business by sharing my tips, tricks, proven business strategy, experience, and incredible guests. Hang on tight and enjoy the show. Today's episode is brought to you by our friends and educational partners over at the Tailwind app. Tailwind has taken my social media scheduling from being in a total tailspin to well-planned, well-sourced, well-thought, and well-automated in posting. So what Tailwind is it helps you schedule out your posts for both Instagram and Pinterest. And even when you're in Pinterest, you can plug those pins right over onto Facebook. The other great thing is they have little communities and groups within Tailwind, so you can network with other amazing people in your niche and help you expand and grow in that way. They also have this really cool thing where they give you suggestions on hashtags. So this is not only like a huge time saver, but they also tell you like this hashtag is good, this hashtag is mediocre, and this hashtag is awesome, kind of like low, medium, high, cold, warm, hot type of thing. And this is so helpful, especially when you're just getting started and you're not really sure what hashtags you should use or could use. It gives you some suggestions. Of course, you don't have to use those, but it's kind of nice to have the little tips and pointers. So basically what you can do is you can plan out all of your stuff in advance. And they also have this thing called Smart Loop. So say if you post something for the holidays and you're posting something every year at Christmas or every year at Thanksgiving, a lot of girls I know did a 12 days of fitness. Or a 12 days of Christmas type of giveaway or course or training. That's something you could put onto a loop. So every year at Christmas time, you can automatically repin those posts and reshare that content without having to think about it. So the cool thing about Tailwind is, again, so super affordable, so super, super, super useful. Like it's been such an amazing resource for our team and for our company and for growing our Instagram and our Pinterest. We now have over 250,000 views on Pinterest just since we started using Tailwind, and it's been amazing. So Tailwind has agreed to give all of our listeners a free month just to give it a try. No credit card, no anything. And you can do that by going to tailwindapp.com/I/busyfitmomamie. And of course, that link will be right in the show notes for you to take advantage of a free full month. So I hope you guys enjoy using this app and really, really enjoy how easy it makes everything and how seamlessly you can integrate it into your business as a huge time saver. So often I get asked, how do I apply to be on the Moms Making Money show? First of all, there are so many things that I love about hosting a podcast. I love connecting with other women. I love hearing their stories. I love hearing their journeys. And I love hearing back from all of you about how wonderful you thought a particular interview was and how it just touched your soul and really spoke to you. There are also a few things that drive me bananas and a few things that I've learned along the way as well. So we're going to kind of dive in today on the do's and don'ts when you're applying to be on somebody's podcast. So the first thing that I think you should do is definitely make sure you've listened to the podcast that you're applying for. Not because I think that you should be, kissing somebody's butt or whatever, but I think that it's important to make sure that the tone and the vibe and the feel and the content of the podcast that you're applying for is relevant to your message. It's relevant to your brand. It's relevant to your audience. And also that you're relevant to theirs. So you want to tell the podcast producer, or, in your application, you want to tell them why you should be on their show. You want to tell them, hey, this is what I do, and I've noticed that you've never had anybody on your show before who does what I do, and I really think that it's a value to your audience. You definitely want to deliver the value to the host's audience, because ultimately that's what's going to make them want you to be on their show. If they've had 30 people already just like you, and that's not what they're looking for, and they want something new to spice it up, then they may not pick you. If you're just another this, or just another that, or just another female entrepreneur. So you're going to want to listen to the show, tell them, hey, this episode really spoke to me. I really enjoyed this guest or this topic. So they know that you've been listening. I would also say that you tell them, hey, and for me, one of the things that I talk about a lot is mom shaming and confidence in starting your business, guilt-free, without that weight of the mom shaming. So when I apply to be on a show, I go through and I make sure that they didn't just have somebody in the last, say, 20 or 30 interviews who recently talked about mom shaming, because then it would be like, no, we just recently did that. So, it's probably not a good fit at this time, because we've already filled that void, filled that niche, and spoke to that ideal client or that audience. And having that, and it's okay to be turned down from a podcast, especially if it's not aligned. So knowing what your message is to the world is very important, because that's the thing that you're going to want to share. That's the thing that's going to connect you with other people. So for me, mine is more of like a movement, more so than a message, in my opinion. And when I apply, or my publicist applies for me to be on another podcast, or somebody invites me to be on their podcast, that's typically one of the things that they are asking me to discuss, because they know that's my movement, that's my message, and that's what I want to get across. Another thing is, do your due diligence, fill out the applications. If they have an application, fill it out completely. And if you're applying to be on somebody else's podcast, so there's a podcast that I've applied to be on, and it's a big one. And let me just tell you, if she said, yeah, I'll interview you, I would make myself available at 2:00 in the morning if I had to. Luckily, we only have a 3-hour time difference, and it wouldn't necessarily be the case, but I would do anything. So think about if Oprah wanted to have you on her show, if Oprah wanted to interview you. You wouldn't tell Oprah, do you have anything like another time? Do you have something that works more around my schedule? Like, can I do something at like 7:00 at night, or on Saturday morning, or, some other time? Could you just work with me on that? Hell no. Hell no. You would be like, oh, Oprah, yeah, I'll do whatever it takes. I will make myself readily available at your earliest convenience. You just let me know when and where, and I'll be there. That's how I feel about this other podcast host. And I feel like if you are applying to be on somebody's show, it's up to you to make yourself available for their studio time, their recording time. Most people who record in advance, obviously, and they also batch their work together. So they'll spend one whole day recording podcast episodes. They don't record just, open willy-nilly. People have lives, people have families. Most serious business owners have set business hours. So if you're up and coming and you're trying to get known and get out there a little bit, get your media feet wet somewhat, it's very important that you make yourself available for the hours in which the host has allotted time. However, if somebody invites you and says, you know what, I just really have to feature you. I really have to have you on my show. What does your schedule look like? Can we connect? That I think is a little bit different. So I have a couple of gals who I have invited to be on this show. And if they said yes, I would make myself available for their schedule because I invited them. So there is that slight difference. The other thing too is that if you can't make the interview, it's really important to give the host, 24 hours notice. Don't just book it in your calendar and then flake or no show. That's happened to me a few times. And it really bothered me. It really was irritating that I had set the space for that time for that person. And they didn't even have, some of these people I never heard from them again. And they get calendar reminders. My system is set up to send a reminder 24 hours in advance with all the links and all the things. So make sure you're checking your spam, make sure you're getting the notifications, make sure you're confirming and follow up. So like I said, if Oprah were to have her publicist reach out to mine, you can bet your ass that I am going to be like following up the week before, following up the day before, double checking everything. Like, this is the place, this is the link, this is the thing, right? We're doing it at this time. And confirm your time zones, you guys. Confirm your time zones. I think that's so important. And if it doesn't say specifically, ask. This is something that I kind of learned the hard way. I went and booked, and typically when you book in somebody's calendar, when it sends you back the confirmation, it will usually almost always send it to you in your time zone so you can put it in your calendar and save it so you get the reminders and all that happy stuff. One time I did that and it didn't say the time zone at all. So I just booked, and then turns out when I got the confirmation, it would have been like something like 2 a.m. And so I had to go back in and rebook, and it ended up working out okay, but be mindful of that when you do book. A few other things that I think could be important are, of course, like I said, making sure that you're a good fit for the podcast. Or if you're having somebody on, and maybe you're a podcast host and you're new and you're growing, making sure that the people that you host are a good fit for your audience and a good fit for your message. Some of the things that I don't talk about on my podcast are politics. I'm just not interested in having that conversation. So that's something that I don't talk about. And I'm pretty sure that most of my guests are happy to also not talk about that. So with that being said, just keep in mind a few things like that when you are applying for a podcast, and really, really do your due diligence. Do some homework. Let the host know that, hey, I do listen to your show. I know what your show is about. I know what you stand for. I know what the message is. I know what the theme, the vibe, the brand is and what it stands for. And this is why I think I'm a good fit. These are a few topics that I would love to cover because I don't think that it's been covered enough in social media or on the airwaves. I don't see that you've covered it on your show yet at all. And make a good stance for that. So definitely a few things to consider. But yes, also don't argue with the host about your availability. If you're not available, that's okay. Maybe you can book out later. If you're applying to be on their show, it is common courtesy to make yourself available during business hours because most people are running a business and their podcast is part of their business. And also, if you invite somebody, you have to be more flexible. So if somebody say, I'll just use Oprah again. She said she would be on my show. I would fly to her and interview her if she wanted. I would make that happen. So being flexible, but also having boundaries when you're the host, but also when you're applying. You need to, if you're asking somebody to feature you, you have to be flexible around their schedule as well. So those are just a few tips that I have, and I feel like they're pretty useful. I feel like they've gotten me pretty far in the amount of times that I've been featured, as well as when I'm making a selection on who I choose to feature. So if you have any questions about that, feel free to reach out to me, amiepederson.com. Also, if you'd like to leave a review, you can post your questions there and we will answer them on air in future interviews. Talk to you later, goal getters.